think it's very easy to do it.
This synthetic oil, compressor oil, it does not have a surfactant, which is important for the things that we're going to be doing on the clock, and we'll use that both on the bearings, so the moving parts, and then as well on the escapement gear. We'll show that. And then synthetic oil, something like a 5W30, we'll use that, which has a wetting agent, and that will be used on the cable and then on the different clock joints for keeping those moving. So, and then the third thing that we have is a white lithium grease spray, which we'll use on the crank for the winding the clock. So we'll do those things first. WD-40, but the most important thing is it's white lithium grease, not your standard WD-40. And that just goes in with for the metal against metal. So, and again, often you'll see a little spot where you put oil, and it's just putting a one push on the oil can. There's another one over here. And we'll revisit that when we get to the top, because we've got more up at the top. So to keep the cable from rusting and in good shape, we need to, again, these are quarterly tasks. Oil the cable. You'll wind the weight up as far as to its normal position, and then just put a bead of oil along the cable. Doesn't have to be too much, just enough, and it'll work, just enough for a bead, and it'll work its way through the cable over the time as it wraps and unwraps. It's probably the finest tuned piece of the clock, and it is really controlling, along with this piece, the rocker piece above it, how the movement of the overall clock. What we want to do is regularly just make sure it doesn't have dust. So this is easier to do with a Q-tip, but this works just fine. You know, you just have it go all the way around for one time, and you're just going in between the not really, it's more you're cleaning the dust off and giving it a little bit of lubricant, but you're just making sure that those surfaces where the two metals are meeting are both clean and a nice connection. So the meditative thing, just let it go around for a minute. So for all of the different places that you see, places where metal is against metal and movement in the clock, not the gears, but places that are holding the different parts of the system, you want to do I'm going to just use this, just do a drop of oil. And often, or in most places, there are, where you're going to see that, you'll see a little hole that looks like it is a nice repository for oil. I'm going to have to get this other thing working for this. There we go. And that's just to keep the moving parts happy. We have a different white lithium grease. This is really a grease, and rather than the spray that we're using downstairs. And what you want to do is just put a bead of that in here on both sides of the ringer here, and then just press it down into the crack there. Do the same on the other side. And that's just important for the swinging of the bell when we're peeling the bell. Check these bolts, make sure nothing's loose. They have never been loose any time I've ever checked them, so I think they're in good shape. You want to check the ropes and just make sure that they're not fraying. This one that rings the bell, this by pulling the whole cradle, is pretty protected. It doesn't get frayed that much. The other one, because of the angle and such that it comes through, and some of the rubbing here. So this, for instance, is starting to thin out and fray. So we'll need to cut this and just move it up a little bit to connect to the clapper, and so that it's not going to break when somebody is pulling that clapper. That clapper will, in this case, the clapper would stay connected to the bell, so the rope will come down into the floor below. So the other moving part on the bell is there's a connection between the clapper and where the clapper meets, it hangs inside the bell. So you just want to reach up to where those two connect and make sure that the bolt that connects the bell to the clapper is tight and in good shape. This is 2025, and in 2024 we had to replace that. It should be in very good shape for a number of years to come, unless it starts loosening. We need to fix the clock soon. You just want to grease those joints. Watch your head when walking around up here. When cranking, it's important to go in the direction of the arrows. You'll hear a clicking. If you go the other way, you're going to unwind it. And at some point, that wheel will fall off. So if you don't hear it clicking, you're going the wrong way. You want to get the weight up high, but you really don't want the two wheels to hit each other. They're cast iron, which means they are strong but fragile, and we don't want to figure out have to replace those. So I crank until the bottom of the weight is at the top of the window, which leaves some space. Or you can just look and make sure it's way up there, but not that the two wheels aren't hitting. So if we don't wind the weight within 8 days, it will hit the floor on the bottom below. It does it gently, it doesn't hurt anything, but it does stop the clock, and the clock will then be off. Or our clock, it is not perfect, it runs decently, but it doesn't run perfectly, so we need to regularly adjust the time anyway. To adjust the time, what you want to do is look at the time outside. Right now they're not all in sync. I use the one that faces 16th Street. And let's say the clock is off by an hour and 15 minutes. If you look at this, the face of this dial here, it has 0 to 60 on it. And that's not showing the exact time, but it is relative to the face of the clock. So one whole turn of this gear equals a whole hour on the clock face. So if we're an hour, let's say it says 9 o'clock and it's actually 10:15, what we want to do is go forward an hour and 15 minutes. So it's a full rotation of this dial plus 15 minutes. So the first thing you need to do is disengage the clock from those faces. So you'll just pull this pin out. You'll see the pin comes through on the other side. You just want to pull it out so that it's not going through both of those gears. And then I'm going to go forward, so that means going towards higher numbers. Right now it's at 10, it's at about 15. So we're going to go one whole way around till we've hit 15 again. And then we want to go another 15 minutes. So that's 5, 15. So there we just moved the clock forward an hour and 15 minutes. And then once if the clock is stopped, set the time, notice what the differential is between the time that's on the face and what you need to set it to. Set it based on the current time relative to the face of the clock.
It sounds like a two-person job.
And then
with cell phones.
Yeah, it's nicer when there's somebody outside who can tell you whether you got the math right.
Yeah.
And the direction. Then once you're ready to go, just give the pendulum a gentle push, and it will start up.
Thanks very much.